Hola. We're going to look at determining the equation when we're given 2 points or a point and a slope. So in order to graph our line, here's two different scenarios. We either have to have 1 point and our slope, or we could be given 2 points and we can create our graph from 2 points. So we're going to start out with the first scenario. The first scenario, 1 point and a slope, is more common. So here we're given our slope. We're supposed to graph a line with slope equal to 4, and it's going to go through the point 3, 5. So when we go to graph this, we're going to start at the point that they give us. So here, I started at 3 up 5, so I started at this point. Our slope is positive 4 over 1. Well, I can't go up 4 and to the right 1. So if you recall from the other day, I gave you these two little hints. We can either go up and to the right, which we just said we can't because there's not a graph up here. Otherwise, we go down and to the left. So from my starting point, 3, 5, I'm going to go down 4. Remember, rise over run. So we're going down 4 and to the left 1. I'm going to go down 4 more and to the left 1 more. Okay, so that's where I get my line by starting with the point they give us and then following our slope, our rise over run. Our rise was down 4 to the left 1, down 4 more to the left 1 more. Let's look at another example. This one's a little different because it has a slope of 0 and goes through the point 2, -1. Well, a couple different ways to remember this. You hopefully will remember that slope equals 0 is a horizontal line every single time. However, if you don't remember that, we can start at our point. So 2, -1. So over 2, down 1. Slope of 0 means we rise 0, and then we run, and I didn't even put another dot, but we can run however many we want, okay, because we're not rising at all, so it'll stay on this horizontal line of y equals -1. Something similar to up here, if we had a slope that was undefined, remember that would be a vertical line. All right, now we're going to look at writing an equation given a point and a slope. So our goal is always to get our equation to be y equals mx plus b, which is that slope-intercept we talked about. But before we can do that, we have to start with something called point-slope. The name comes from the fact that they give us a point and a slope. Okay, so here's what point slope looks like. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And it's really important to know m, remember, is still our slope, and then this x1, y1 is a coordinate point that's on our line. So let's look at an example writing one of these. Write the equation of a line with a slope of 3 that goes through the point 2, 4. Always ask yourself, what do I have? Well, I have a slope and I have a point. So we should probably use point-slope form, which just from the previous page looks like this. So we're going to plug the information in that we know. We know our m, or our slope, is 3. And then this is our x value, and that's our y value. So we're going to, sorry, you can't really see that. We're going to plug 2 in for x sub 1 and 4 in for y sub 1. So I do that in the next step. Y minus my y value of 4 equals my slope, which is 3, times x minus my x value. This is point-slope form, but now we need to get it into y equals mx plus b. Well, that means we have to get y by itself. So let's start by distributing that 3 across the parentheses. That gives us y minus 4 equals 3x minus 6. And last step would be to add 4 to both sides. -6 plus 4 is where I get the -2. So y equals 3x minus 2 is our slope-intercept form. So this would be our answer. And now we can graph using that equation. So again, here's our slope. There is our y-intercept. So you start at your y-intercept. We're starting here at -2. Our slope is 3 over 1. So up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. Up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. And you see that we get to this coordinate point that's 2, 4, which is from our original equation. So this line does indeed go through our point. Okay, this time we're going to have to write an equation, but we're only given 2 points. We don't have our slope. Luckily, we know our slope formula, which looks like down here. Okay, so in order to use point slope form, we have to have our m. Well, we don't have our slope yet, so we have to find our slope. This is our equation for slope. So we're going to take y2 minus y1, which is 8 minus 5, over x2 minus x1, which is 2 minus 1. We get a slope of 3 over 1. Okay, so our m value is now 3. Now we have enough information to plug into this to point slope form. You can use either 1, 5 or 2, 8 to get the right equation. I went ahead and chose 1, 5 to plug in here. But know that if you did this with 2, 8, you would get the exact same answer. Okay, so y minus 5 equals 3 times x minus 1. Remember, 3 is what we found when we used our slope formula. And now we're going to distribute 3x minus 3 and then add 5 to both sides. Our equation of this line would be y equals 3x plus 2. We'll do one more example like that. So here, write an equation through these 2 points in slope-intercept form. Whenever you're just given 2 points, your first step is always to find your slope. So we use our slope formula, 6 minus negative 2, negative 5 minus 15 on the denominator. Minus negative turns into plus a positive, so we get positive 8 on top, negative 20 on the denominator. You get 2 over negative 5 as your slope. So we're going to use that. Again, use either point that you choose. It doesn't matter. I went ahead and used the bottom one because I didn't have to plug in a 15. Okay, they're smaller numbers. So y minus 6 is negative 2/5 times x minus negative 5. I went ahead in the next step and changed that minus negative into a plus. Now we distribute. Okay, negative 2/5 x. I went ahead and did the math over here. Negative 2/5 times 5 over 1 simplifies to a negative 2. So there's the work if you need to see that. But when we distribute here, we get negative 2. And now we'll add this 6 to the right side and get y equals negative 2/5 x plus 4.